Hey Taurus, happy July 2017. Hope everybody is doing fantastic. This is Dark Dove Tarot. I'm going to shuffle the cards a few more times. As you know, I always pre-shuffle, but I like to add a little more energy before we get started. Again, I hope everybody's doing fantastic. As you know, last month I told everybody that I changed my reads up. I used to do singles and relationships, but now I'm actually going to do just singles like I did last month, and anybody looking to reconcile, but mainly focusing on singles. Just seems to be those are the people who contact me for private reads, reach out in emails, leave comments, etc. So it seems like those are the majority of my viewers. If that bothers anybody, feel free to let me know, but so far I haven't had any complaints. As you know, this is a general read, so if it doesn't resonate with you, which hopefully it does, but if it doesn't, feel free to check your sun, moon, and rising. As always, I move really fast because I have a lot to say and a lot I want to get out without taking up too much of your time. Any likes, subscribes, comments, private reads, donation, all that information is in the description below and is appreciated. All right, Taurus, let's see what's going on for you for July. Let's get started. We always start with your current position or current state coming into the month. Then you have the Four of Wands. So the Four of Wands is actually really good. This is about happiness. This is about resting, stability. So the Four of Wands tells me if you're single, either you've met a few people and so you're kind of dating an exclusive few, or maybe you've taken a rest or, revamped after kind of a crazy run with dating, and now you're coming back saying, okay, I'm ready to try this again. I'm feeling calm. I'm feeling like things are a little more stable. Maybe some of you have had a lot going on with work or family or kids, and so you're finally feeling like, okay, I'm back in the saddle again. I'm ready to date again. This is also first completion. So this means taking the first step. So really for singles, I feel like for Taurus, coming into July, you've really met maybe one or two really good suitors, and you've kind of completed the first step of dating. Or again, maybe you took time off, and so you've completed the first step of doing online dating, or the first step of doing something different other than online dating. But you're coming into this month a little more soothed than last month. It seems like some of you may have had a chaotic last month, or maybe the past few months. Maybe you were meeting all the wrong people and it was just kind of chaotic, and you were like, whoa, this is crazy. I've got to stop. I've got to, get my ducks in a row, figure out what's going to work best for me. Maybe you tried certain dating avenues that didn't work, and so you're changing things up. Or maybe you started dating one or two people. I feel like some of you dated one person on and off for a little bit and thought maybe there was potential there, and then it was just like, whoa, there's not. And you had to take some time out and really think about what you're looking for, what you're willing to accept, what you're not willing to accept. Because this tells me you're coming in more calm than you have been in a while, and you're wanting to start to date. And a lot of you may already have been in the dating game again, but you've maybe before you were checking it like every day, and you were scheduling dates for like every other day or every weekend. And now you're kind of like, okay, instead of taking up all my personal time and, free time worrying about dating, or, all the different apps and all this stuff, you just kind of decided that, yes, you want to date, but you're not going to let it take up too much of your time. Because let's face it, whether it's dating apps or social media, it takes a lot of our time if that's something that you pursue. For anybody who's looking to reconcile, I feel like there's two ways at this. I never really get the sense of whether it's over or, whether it can be reconciled in the first card. And this is really a 50-50 card, because this could mean first completion as you're completing the first step of getting over this person, but maybe you're still thinking about them. Maybe this month has significance for you. Maybe it's their birthday month or something along those lines. Or maybe you've finally gotten to a stable place that you know that you can move on from them, but you still think about them. The flip side of that could be that you're feeling more stable in your life, like you figured out what you needed to change and what you needed to overcome and what you needed to do before you could successfully date this person that you miss and love. And now you're completing those steps to get there. I mean, this is happiness. So either you're finding that you're happy without them and you're just kind of needing to get completely past them and you've taken the first step, or you've taken the first step to communicate with them and the response has been good, or they've taken the first step to communicate with you and the response has been good. Because the Four of Wands, whether you're single or looking to reconcile, is about happiness. So this tells me, again, if you're single, you've met a few people and you're feeling happy in the situation you're in, or you're feeling positive about pursuing dating now because you've kind of worked out the kinks. And reconciliation, same thing. I feel like for a lot of you, maybe you've had recent communication and you're feeling good about it. The next card you have is always feelings or challenges that often help or hinder the position coming into the month. And you have the Emperor. And the Emperor is about structure and being traditional. So I think maybe for any of you singles who have been looking and it's been chaos, you're now kind of feeling like, okay, I've structured it. And not that you're trying to control it or anything, but you've structured it in a way that's going to be positive for you. You've figured out what is going to work for you and what hasn't. And I think this works really well with the Four of Wands, the stability of the Four of Wands, because the structure here and the tradition is, look, I want a traditional date. I want to, go out to dinner, maybe go for a walk in the park after, or maybe it seems like the past few months it's been chaos. It's been like, go get drinks and get kind of sloshy, or, doing something super adventurous and meeting people who maybe are just lustful, and maybe there's been a lot of physical stuff going on lately and the past few months, and you're just kind of like, wait, this is not what I'm looking for. I want somebody genuine. I want something genuine. I want to meet somebody, form a relationship, develop a friendship, form a long-lasting connection. And so I feel like the Emperor in you is coming out in July, just kind of saying, I have kind of a kingship, and not in a conceited way, but just, I've learned to cut through the bullshit and read the red flags, and I know what I want. This means, Taurus, you're coming into the month knowing what you want, and you're just not going to settle for something that's not what you want. And again, not in a, I'm better than anybody, but you're not going to have, you don't want to have somebody just to say you have something, if that makes sense. So you're not willing to just grab onto a relationship. And it seems like, Taurus, there may be plenty of people who would be willing to have a relationship with you, or who have been like, let's have a relationship. And you're not willing to do that unless it's right for you. It's like you'd rather be alone than be in the wrong situation. And I think that's a really positive way to come into this month. Maybe you have met a few people and you're feeling like, okay, I'm on solid ground with these people. And, there's some good structure here. And for anybody looking to reconcile, it kind of goes along with the Four's balance as well, because it feels like you're feeling more like there could be a clearing of paths and a coming together again. Because the traditional sense could be maybe things weren't working out because you wanted to get married or they wanted to get married, and one of you felt, pushed or not ready to commit, and maybe the time apart has made the person who was squeamish about it say, oh my gosh, this is what I want. I want the traditional family. I want the marriage. Maybe, you guys came together kind of in the young, like, we can go out and stay out at night, or we can sleep in late, and now you're kind of having the grown-up lifestyle where it's like, if you don't get enough sleep, you feel terrible the next day, or, you can't go out and be hungover the next day, or you can't, do the things you used to do. And I feel like maybe one of you is clinging on to that, and the other person was like, no, I want to start a family. I want to move in together. I want to do these things. And you guys just weren't connecting. And it feels like with the Emperor, you and possibly your partner, or, maybe if you were the one who was struggling with it, you're now seeing the common ground. And if your partner was, they were. And it feels like whichever way it's going to go, whether you're going to reconcile or not, you're kind of feeling clear about what you want and what you need. And if this person that you're communicating with, or will start communicating again, because I feel very strongly just from this beginning that you're going to start communicating at some point, again, if you're not already, that you guys will be able to come together and figure something out. And if you don't, it's kind of like, okay, well, you know what you want, so you'll find what you want. The next card you have is always your distant past. And I've been explaining this position, and you have the Three of Wands. I've been explaining this position a little more to everybody because I know for me, and I'm thinking that some other readers are the same, but I'm not going to speak for anybody else. But for me, the reason the past is so important each month is because there's so many things that come from your past. Everybody's past is eclectic, right? And so sometimes there's going to be good cards in this position. Sometimes there's going to be bad cards. There's no bad cards, but a more negative tone to a card that's in the past position. And this is something that can represent maybe what's coming in that month. Maybe feelings that you're going to reflect on. Maybe good things you need to take from the relationship. Maybe things that you need to let go of so that you don't interfere with what's going on now. So this is just kind of a clearing of any energy that might be coming in negative, or accepting any energy that comes in positively. So for the Three of Wands, this is about partnership. This is about planning, growth. So for anybody, you know, looking to reconcile or single, I always read the distant past in the for both the same, and this is distant. So this is usually over the past few years. So I feel very strongly that at some point you were planning to move in together, to have a wedding, to have a baby. You were growing together. You had a very strong partnership, and something happened. Somebody screwed the pooch. I don't know if somebody cheated. Somebody wanted out. I even see somebody being stood up at the altar. I see maybe a few miscarriages, and that broke the relationship up. I even see, you know, somebody who was straight and then turned into bi or same-sex orientation, and, you know, nothing wrong with that, but I feel like somebody along the line, either yourself or your partner, and I kind of get the feeling, Taurus, it was you, feels like you were swindled. Feels like, you know, you really truly love somebody, and then something came and broke your heart. You guys had a bunch of plans, maybe even moving, you know, somewhere you both liked, and something interrupted that. Again, it's not, sometimes we have really hard cards in this position, like, you know, the Ten of Swords or the Nine of Swords. Usually when I get those in past positions, it's really hard, you know, really hard family lives or abuse and stuff like this. Not that the three, you know, if it's representing adultery and those things, that's harsh enough. But this tells me that it was something you really wanted and it fell through. But it also tells me that, like, you've been able to kind of get over it and focus on what you want and give it a second shot. And you were happy at one point, and you know that, so now you know what it's like to be in a healthy, successful relationship. Even though it may not have ended that way, you're bringing from your past the fact that at some point you had it, and you're trying to find it again. And it wasn't always negative, because I feel like you really connected with this person, you love them, and they actually really connected with you and loved you, but something just didn't work out. And I feel like somebody got cold feet, somebody had an affair. There's a lot of different scenarios, but this is definitely, you know, something that ended. And for some of you, it ended very abruptly and kind of feel like the wool was pulled over your eyes the whole time. The next card you have is the most recent past. So this is over the past few weeks, maybe the past month or two, and you have the Page of Swords. And this is very interesting because this is tying in very well, and I've been telling every read so far that the reads are all tying in very well. A lot of times I get chaos, and I'm just kind of like, every position doesn't match, you know, the flow of the read, and it gets really confusing. But this is seeking. This is clarity. This is figuring out what you want. This is all about the truth and finding it within yourself. So, this goes along swimmingly with everything, because, you know, you have the structure, and you have the stability, and you have the peace of mind that you have knowing what you want here, and then you take from this knowing what you want, and now you've got the Page of Swords that is kind of like, I can see clearly now. I know what I want. I mean, I feel like a broken record all of a sudden, because for anybody who's single, you're just kind of like, you know, it's like the kind of the quill in the picture, you know, you're writing your own story, and you're just not going to stop until you find what you want. And you're learning, and that comes a lot with this. Like I said, first completion. I feel like a lot of you are kind of like, okay, I can do this standing thing. Like, I've figured it out, and I figured out what works best for me. And with the page, you're making things happen. You're noticing things about people, and you're trusting your instinct. And I think that's really important, because it's almost like your instinct is clear now too, and you can just read red flags left and right. And you are kind of traditional in the fact that you're not, like, you like things a certain way, and not, Taurus isn't like OCD or anything, but you know what you want, and you know what you want to go after. And that's okay, because some people would rather know what they want than be constantly confused or wondering or whatever. For anybody looking to reconcile, this is actually a really good sign, because this is, you're learning the truth. You're trying to seek clarity, and it doesn't feel negative. It's not like the truth, like, who was she or who was he, or, you know, it's more of, where did we go wrong? What can we do to get back to this? What can we do to even everything out? What can we do to be together again, but also clear up anything that needs to be addressed, and really talking about it, and really, you know, seeking out what hurt your relationship in the first place, and then making changes. Both you and your partner have to be willing to do that. But right now it feels like if you're not in contact, you will be soon, and you're going to get to the nitty-gritty of it, and feels like it's going to be positive so far. The next card you have is always going to be your distant future. So over the next you know, few months, not just in July. And you have the Two of Cups. Okay, well, we can just stop the reading right now. Have a great night, Taurus. No, I'm just kidding. I know sometimes I'm not really that funny, but I think I'm funny. So the Two of Cups is actually an excellent card. So this says that over the next few months, Taurus, and I believe Cancer got the same card in this position, which is interesting because I do not pull the Two of Cups very often. In fact, I don't pull the Lover's card very often, and these two are very interesting. But a lot of people think that if you pull the Lover's card, it's, ooh, love, love, love. But actually, for me, the Two of Cups, see these birds? They're different put together, and they're interlocked. That is the Two of Cups. It is a real connection, a very real connection. Yes, there is intimacy here, and yes, there is physical connection, but singles, this means over the next few months, you are going to connect with what you want. And like I said in the beginning, some of you may have already narrowed it down to one or two, and you've kind of completed the first set of dating. Now you're in the dating, but you're not like committed yet because you haven't really narrowed it down, and maybe you like 2 or 3 people the same amount, and you haven't really, one has not kind of, you know, led the pack. But the Two of Cups is an excellent card for both singles and anybody looking to reconcile. For singles, this is attraction, connection. So even if you haven't met a few people, you will, because this is all about having that attraction. This is not an attraction that's like, ooh, she's pretty, ooh, he's cute. This is an attraction that is like, you know what I mean. Some of you may not, but I think the majority of you know what I mean. Have you ever been around somebody that you like, and it's almost like you can feel the energy when you're near them? You could be like a foot away from them, but it's almost like that energy that you know you're connected in some way. Like, you know, eventually you're going to kiss that person. Eventually you're going to hug that person. It's hard to explain, but if you know what I'm talking about, then I really don't need to explain much, because it's that connection that's deeper. It's almost like joined, you know, like joined energy, an energy flow that you can just feel tangibly. And that's the connection that you're going to look forward to for the next few months, Taurus. So that's excellent. For anybody looking to reconcile, I think this just kind of goes to say that even though in the beginning I was kind of thinking it's 50-50, I think that if you really focus and you really get to the bottom of, you know, what happened and what you guys need to change. And for some of you, I really get the feeling that it wasn't this hardcore, somebody cheated, and it was just, we're not on the same page right now, and we need to get on the same page. And maybe taking the time from each other is just going to bring that connection even closer. It's It's interesting. I read something today actually that said that, and maybe this will give you more hope if, you know, you're really wanting to reconcile. But it was an article about people who break up and how so many people worry about, will we ever reconcile? Will we get back together? And I think it said 51% of all couples get back together at least once. And I thought, well, gosh, I mean, that should give most of us hope, because that's a pretty big number. You know, and some people don't want to reconcile. So you have to think about those people and take them out of the equation. I don't know the percentages on that, and I don't know how accurate the percentages were in the article I read, but still, you have to think there are several people who break up, they don't want to get back together. So take them out of the equation, and the people who do, you know, ultimately, there's a pretty good shot that you will. So if you do, I think this is going to be an even stronger connection than you had before. The next card you have is going to be your immediate future, so throughout July. And you have the Four of Swords, which is very interesting because that goes really well with the Four of Wands. So, and a lot of times I don't pick up on numbers, but the fours are now screaming for some reason. So I really think that it's going to be 4 weeks, 4 months, something, and you're going to really see a major change in your love life. The Four of Swords is about rest, recuperation, and this Four of Wands is about rest. So the Four of Swords for the next few weeks tells me you are finding this stability. You are taking care of yourself. You are not making dating everything in your life. You're making sure you're getting enough sleep. You're making sure that you're taking care of business, that your family, your kids, whatever the case may be, is taken care of. And you're not allowing the stresses of maybe some of the bullshit that you've seen in dating bother you. And again, maybe you met that 1 or 2 people, or you are going to in July, and maybe you already know that 1 or 2 people are good suited for you, and so you're feeling this ability to kind of recuperate and not be, you know, on your toes all the time playing the dating game. You feel comfortable with somebody, or again, it could be 1 or 2 people, or by the end of July you will if you don't right now. So that's definitely good for singles. For anybody looking to reconcile, I kind of feel like it's very similar. You've been antsy, anxious, life has just not felt complete or as good without this person in your life, and I feel like that you're on your way to, you know, a good foundation and rebuilding. And this is you just being exhausted from all the past anxiety and really taking time out to get some rest. So the next card you have is going to be future external factors. So anything tangible that's going to affect you, and you have death. A lot of people go, oh, death, but actually death is very good. It's one of my favorite cards because it's about rebirth, change, transformation. And again, Taurus, your reading is flowing very well because I'll start with reconciliation. If you're looking to reconcile, this tells me that there's a rebirth. So it tells me that you're going to get back together, you're going to find this connection, and you're feeling better about it already. I mean, it's plain and simple. That's what the cards are telling me. For anybody who is single, the same thing. Not same thing in rebirth, but you're feeling a lot better about your single life and situation. And I strongly feel if you have not met somebody or a few people who are very good suitors for you, you will this month. And I think that this is going to be a transformation for you because I feel like a lot of you have been single for a long time. I get some of you have been single for years even. And then maybe you got back in the dating game and took a break. And so you've been single. You know, you've had periods of dating and periods of being single and nothing's panning out for you, and this is transformation. This is change. This tells me that your life is about to change, in particular your love life. For some of you, it could be your job, but I would pick up on that pretty strongly, and this is like, this entire read is just mesmerizing about your love life. So the death definitely tells me whether you're single or looking to reconcile, you're heading in a positive direction and things are about to change for you. The next card you have is any future internal factors throughout the month of July, and you have the 8 of Cups. So this is external factors. So again, it could be that you're moving in with somebody, if you're looking to reconcile, if you're single, you know, you're committing to somebody this month, etc. This is internal, and these will happen throughout July. It's not towards the end. This could happen in the beginning, this could happen in the middle, etc. So the 8 of Cups is very interesting because this is internal again, and this is dissatisfaction. But what's interesting is it's not dissatisfaction in your love life. This is dissatisfaction in certain factors. This means that you're feeling stagnant, like things aren't moving fast enough for you. And so just be careful with that, Taurus, because I feel like you're going to be very excited about this new person. And, you know, if you're single, you're going to be like, hi, this is person for me. Like, I know it. Like, you don't even have, it could be your twin flame, your, you know, love of your life. And you know it, and maybe they know it, and you guys are like ready to go, but you're kind of like, okay, we need to be patient about this. We need to be realistic about this. We need to make sure we're playing it safe. And because both of you have been hurt, but it's almost like this past relationship that you know, put a lot of energy and love into, and that was good for a long time. It's almost like you're back to that, or you will be, or you feel that with this person, and you know it's going to be different than this outcome. So you're kind of like, come on, let's move, but you don't want to be too jumpy, and they don't want to be too jumpy, so you're still doing the ha ha ha, butterflies in my stomach, and let's, you know, I'm going to text him, but I'm not going to text him too much, or her, because I don't want them to think that I like him too much, and I don't want them to think I want to jump in a relationship when internally you really want to, and I get the feeling that they do too. So just be patient. You know, it will move when it's time to move, and when the universe is guiding it. For anybody looking to reconcile, I feel like it's the same thing. I feel like maybe if you separated and one of you moved out, you're like, well, why can't we just move right back in together? Or if one of you didn't want to get married because you had cold feet, and now you're like, okay, let's get married, let's rush to the altar. Same exact thing. Do not push it, because I feel like if you push it, you're going to push it into a negative space, and you really want to avoid that right now. The next two cards you have are actually your hopes and fears for the outcome of July, and you have the Ten of Wands and your actual outcome for July, and you have the Ace of Cups. Okay, so for your hopes and fears, and again, remember that's internal. It's about responsibility and completion. So it's very interesting because your cards, Taurus, almost over any sign have come together even more. Again, like I said, rest between the four, and now you have the Ten of Wands, which also represents you coming into the month. So it's almost like you're going to go full circle and complete something, because this is first completion. So again, like meeting a few people to date that are solid, that you like, and then this is completion. So that tells me that internally you're saying, okay, I'm ready to step out of the single life and commit and form a relationship. The 10 can also feel like responsibility as well, and a little bit of burden. But I get the sense of the burden with the 10 of Wands as more decisions have to be made. Like, you're going to commit, but it's almost going to feel a little bit like, you know, oh, do we really have to change Facebook statuses? Do we, like, one of you's excited about that, and one of you's like, do we really have to go through all of this? I also feel like this might pertain to work, so maybe there's a little more burden coming up. And I just got the picture of somebody having something happen with, like, an ex. It's not going to affect this relationship, but like an ex-husband or an ex-wife that you have kids with, there's going to be something else, like something that comes on with them. But again, it won't affect your love life. It'll be like maybe they lost their job, so you're not going to get child support, because the burden on this feels more of like something financially or work related is going to come in, and you're going to feel like you're trying to balance everything, and here you're coming in very balanced, and you just don't want that to be taken away. For anybody who's looking to reconcile, I feel like this is a completed step of getting to the point where you're ready to say, okay, we're going to do this again, and so we're going to put things in order, and we're going to just, you know, become new again as a couple. And I think it's going to work out really well for you. So the outcome, and again, like I said, these cards are meshing amazingly, because the Ace of Cups is about love. It's about beginnings. It's about friendship. It's about excitement, happiness. So again, you've got, you know, these happiness here and here. And the ace, as you can see, I mean, he's happy as a clam, or a bird, I guess I should say, or a crow in water. But, you know, this is love. So, I mean, singles, again, this is your outcome of July, and this is your, you know, distant future. What's negative about that? Nothing. I mean, Taurus, I think you've had one of the best reads so far this month, because it's just flowed so nicely and everything's kind of pairing together because the ace, like I said, I mean, this is friendship, and I think this is a deep connection and a deep friendship, and that Two of Cups is going to develop into something amazing, and by the end of July, you're going to feel that in the Ace of Cups. You're going to fall in love, and like I said, it's quick, but remember this 8 of you wanting it to move faster. Let nature take its course and do what you need to do. You're excited, and I'm excited for you. I think it's going to be infectious. You're going to be excited with life. You're going to be excited with love. People are going to see you, you know, smile from ear to ear. You're going to be glowing. For anybody looking to reconcile, I think this is it. You've fallen in love again. And it's about beginnings. So I think it's a new beginning. It's this rebirth of your relationship. And you're excited about it as well. And I think that you're going to be deeper committed, and there's going to be a deeper connection with the 2 as well. But because of this, because you're going to find your friendship again. You're going to figure out the reason that you fell in love in the first place. You're going to laugh. You're going to joke around. You're going to do all the things that you fell in love with your partner for, and same. They're going to remember the things that they fell in love with about you. So remember the happy memories. Don't delve into the finger pointing and the negative. Just reconcile on a positive note. If you really want to get back together with them, let the past lie. Let that crap go, and don't let it interfere. So, all right, Taurus, very excited. I think it's going to be really positive in July and going for the next few months. So I can't wait to see you in August. Thanks.